In this demonstration, we'll cover cell referencing. So in this example spreadsheet, I've gone ahead and created a grading sheet that has 3 students, Jack, Jill, and Jane. And in this class, there are 2 tests, test number 1 and 2. And what we want to do is we want to be able to calculate the final grade for those 3 students. The 2 tests are not weighted the same, however. Test number 1 is worth 60% of the final grade, and test number 2 is worth 40% of the final grade. So to calculate the final grade for, say, Jack, something you might do is type in a formula such as the following. We want to take the test number 1 grade, so cell C3, and then we want to times that by the weight, so we want to times it by 60%, so times cell C8, and then we want to add the test number 2 grade, D3, times the weight of test number 2, which is in cell C9. Okay, so that gives us a final grade for Jack. And also the order of operations worked out for us this way, but if you're ever wanted to be safe, you can always use things like brackets to make sure that certain operations are done before others. So let's just put in some brackets to make it a little bit cleaner, and we get the same final grade. Now, if you recall from a previous demonstration, what you can do is you can actually drag down this formula down to the other 2, so you don't have to type that formula in for each one of the students. So let's drag that down, and you're going to notice something very weird happens. It says that Jill's final grade is 34.8, and obviously it's not, because she received an 87 and a 98, and it says that Jane's final grade is a 0. So something obviously happened here. So let's examine. Let's double click on Jill's grade, and it's going to bring up the formula that it copied down. And you can see that if you follow this through, it doesn't make sense. The C4 times C9, okay, that's the test number 1, and what it's done is it's times it by the 40% for test 2. And the second test, the D4 times C10, it's times 98 times a blank, which comes up as 0. So something definitely has happened here. And if you've noticed, the test weights, these 2 references, the green and the brownish color, have actually moved down as well as you've copied it down. And that's because this is relative addressing, so that when you copy a relative address to another cell, it's always going to move all of the references the same amount with it. So that shifted down 1. Same thing happened here as with Jane, is because it shifted down twice, then it times both by nothing, which is nothing, and it gives her a final grade of 0. So to fix this, we need to basically lock those references in place so they don't move, and that's where you use the absolute addressing. So let's go back up to Jack's grade and fix this. So in this case here, the cell C3, which is his test 1 grade, when we copy it down to Jill, we want that one to move, so we're going to leave this cell reference alone. But the C8, which references the test number 1 weight, we don't want that to move whenever we copy this formula. So we put $signs in front of the C and a $sign in front of the 8. And we're going to do the same thing for the test number 2 weight. We're going to put a $sign on the C and the 9. And we're going to hit enter. And we're going to get the same final grade. But if you notice, if we copy down this formula now to the other 2, it looks like we have correct grades. Everything's working correctly. And we can verify that by double clicking on Jane's grade. And you can see that the blue and the purple references have actually shifted down as we wanted them to. As we copied the final grade formula from Jack down 2, the cell references copied down 2 as well. But the references to the weights have actually remained the same. They haven't moved anywhere. So that's a perfect example of the difference between absolute and relative addressing.